Welcome back to ZNGP today. Ducati General Manager Gigi Dall'Igna took stock after a bruising Mandalika weekend that combined the high of the team's world title with the low of crashes for both Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia. Posting on LinkedIn, Dall'Igna praised the squad's collective effort, hailed the breakthrough performances from Ducati's younger partners, and, above all, expressed his desire for a calm, complication-free recovery for Marquez after the shoulder injury. MotoGP has published the official preseason test calendar for 2026, giving teams and riders a clear roadmap from the Valencia shakedown straight through to the final dress rehearsal in Buriram. The program starts immediately after this year's finale in Valencia and then resumes in Asia with Sepang and Buriram sessions in late January and February, a schedule that frames the off-season work that will set the tone for next year's title fight. Jack Miller admitted frustration after an eventful Indonesian Grand Prix at Mandalika, where he rallied from the back of the grid to run with the front group before a late crash that nevertheless left him classified ninth. The Pramac Yamaha rider praised the bike's improving potential and the team's progress, but owned the mistake that cost a stronger finish. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Dall'Igna struck an unusually personal tone, celebrating the team world title achieved during a weekend he described as one of our worst. He framed the result as proof of the team's depth, professional, united, and able to deliver even when the factory riders suffered setbacks. He dedicated the championship to the entire crew, our girls and boys, and called their combined human and technical talent the cornerstone of Ducati's success. The message is both morale-boosting and managerial, praise for the workforce while acknowledging that on-track fortunes can swing despite strong engineering. Dall'Igna singled out Firmin Aldeguer and Gresini Racing for salvaging a chaotic weekend, underlining how satellite and junior team performances matter to the factory's narrative and tally. Aldeguer's dominant victory and Alex Marquez's podium were presented as proof the Ducati ecosystem remains healthy beyond the factory box. He called Aldeguer's win extraordinary and highlighted that Alex's consistency bolsters Ducati's broader success. This public recognition helps bind Ducati's satellite partners into the factory story and soothes the optics of factory rider mishaps. At the heart of the post was Dall'Igna's concern for Marquez's well-being. He asked for patience and the absence of unforeseen events during recovery while noting that time might be an ally in healing. The tone was measured, managerial but humane. I wish Marc our most sincere wishes for a full recovery, without any emergencies or unforeseen events. That public solidarity reinforces Ducati's support for its rider and preempts speculation, making clear the company's priority is health over immediate results. Dall'Igna urged calm, patient technical analysis of what went wrong in Indonesia and what helped at Motegi the week before. He stressed the need to study data carefully, particularly regarding Bagnaia's delicate form, rather than react with rush fixes. He said Mandalika requires objective data evaluation and steady decision-making, especially for Pecco's situation. The emphasis on methodical troubleshooting suggests Ducati will avoid knee-jerk setup changes and instead lean on structured testing and engineering discipline. Dall'Igna used the weekend as a reminder that even the most successful programs face rocky patches. He framed setbacks as part of a long-term project and reaffirmed confidence in the team's philosophy and trajectory. Difficult weekends happen to us, even to us, and they serve to remind everyone that success is built on relentless work. The framing is stabilizing, a call to keep perspective and continue the development process that produced the championship in the first place. Gigi Dall'Igna's post was equal parts celebration, consolation, and call to arms. By lauding the team and satellite partners while asking for patience over medical and technical follow-ups, he sought to steady Ducati's narrative after Mandalika. With Marquez's recovery and Bagnaia's form now center stage, Ducati's next moves will be as much about careful engineering and rider support as they are about maintaining the momentum of a title-winning season. As tradition holds, the first track time comes straight after the last round. Valencia will host the opening preseason outing on Tuesday, November 18th. Teams will use the day to begin baseline checks, confirm parts, and start the long list of engineering chores that flow from a full season's data. That immediate session gives manufacturers a rare opportunity to test updates before winter shipments, and keeps momentum for squads that want to start 2026 on the front foot. After the winter hiatus, MotoGP returns to Malaysia for the familiar Sepang shakedown from January 29th to 31st. The short 3-day window is designed for test riders, rookies and manufacturers still holding concessions to get early kilometers without the pressure of a full official test. MotoGP officials emphasize the shakedown's role as a low-key, high-value primer, a place to run reliability checks, validate electronics and give rookie riders crucial track time. For teams developing big changes, new engines, chassis or aero packages, Sepang will be a vital, controlled environment to identify showstoppers before the longer official test. The schedule then moves straight into the official Sepang test from February 3rd to 5th. This longer, fully staffed session is where manufacturers push harder on performance, compare engines/gearbox maps, try different fairings and refine tire and electronics settings. Organizers pointed out that the proximity of shakedown to the official test helps teams escalate development quickly. Data from the shakedown feeds into a focused test program where lap time evaluations become a priority. Expect big headlines from this test. It's traditionally where the first meaningful indications of 2026 competitiveness appear. MotoGP has signaled that Kuala Lumpur will host associated events on February 6th to 7th, adding a promotional and fan element around the Sepang activities. It's a reminder that testing windows are now also media and marketing opportunities for manufacturers and riders. The presence of public-facing events directly after the official test underscores how teams balance engineering work with sponsor obligations and fan engagement in the modern MotoGP calendar. The final official preseason test will be at Buriram on February 21st to 22nd, held the weekend before the season opener. That 2-day session gives squads a last chance to validate race setups, complete tire work and run race distance simulations with final hardware. Teams treat Buriram as the final integration test. If something isn't right here, it becomes a logistical challenge to fix it before the first race. Because it sits so close to round 1, Buriram's importance can't be overstated. It's where small deficits are exposed and last-minute gains are secured. The 2026 preseason timetable: Valencia, November 18th, Sepang shakedown, January 29th to 31st, official Sepang test, February 3rd to 5th, Kuala Lumpur events, February 6th to 7th, and Buriram, February 21st to 22nd, creates a clear, phased development path for manufacturers, riders and rookies. From immediate post-season checks in Valencia through to the final race prep in Buriram, the calendar balances reliability work, performance development, and fan engagement. With rule changes, new engine projects and a compressed development window, these test dates will be where 2026 contenders are first separated from the pretenders. Miller started 14th but methodically climbed into contention, spending much of the race glued to a leading group. With 3 laps to go he lost the front after a tight exchange and crashed, but remounted to salvage 9th. Deja vu. I felt good, hanging on the back of the pack. I messed up at the end, so I'm disappointed. The recovery underlined race craft and tire management. The finish highlighted how small errors late in the race can erase a weekend's work. Miller emphasized tire behavior as the weekend's defining variable. Groups of riders in close formation made front grip unpredictable, and soft rears began to build up after a dozen laps. His medium rear choice was a tactical call to avoid that fade. Every time I got close, the 4 bikes in a row made me lose front grip. With the soft, after 12 laps it starts to build up. At Mandalika, tire preservation and choosing the right compound was as decisive as outright pace. Miller said he ran a pretty smart race. biding his time for the latter stages when chaos could open overtaking chances. The plan worked until the late incident, by which point dirty tires and small contact forced him wide. It was nice to be there and be with these guys during the race. The weekend offered evidence that Pramac Yamaha can compete in race groups. The task is converting that into error-free finishes. The Australian acknowledged Yamaha's ongoing work to find the right balance. Different riders still prefer different front/rear feels. Miller accepts a harder front and softer rear trade-off if it helps him control lockup and rollback on the straight. Some prefer a different feel. I can control the lockup and sacrifice to gain feel at the limit. That flexibility could help Pramac extract better race results, while the factory fine-tunes the M1's next updates. Despite disappointment, Miller saw the weekend as encouraging. Competitive pace, clever tire choices, and staying with the lead group for long stints are tangible steps forward. He stressed the need to avoid late mistakes and thanked the team for the package. Overall, I'm happy with the package. I was preparing for the latter part of the race. If Miller turns late race fragility into routine control, those near-podium showings could become podiums. Jack Miller's Mandalika weekend mixed promise with regret. A strong comeback and clear race pace were undermined by a late error and tire degradation. His verdict was candid. He screwed up, but constructive. Yamaha and Pramac are nudging the package forward, and Miller's race craft kept him competitive. The challenge now is simple in words and hard in practice. Fewer late mistakes, better tire life, and turning potential into results. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!